I want to picture a scenario. How many bank fishermen have been out? The weather is nice. It's beautiful. Little cool breeze. You're like, this is a great day for fishing. And you go out, you take a couple rods, a couple setups, or you got your tackle box, and you got this idea in your head like, man, it's cloudy, it's windy, it's spinnerbait time. Or sun's up overhead, and I'm for sure gonna get that crankbait bite. And you get out to the water, and either the water conditions are not what you were expecting, or you're just not getting a bite turned on. You see fish hitting the top of the water the whole time, but you can't get them to hit top water bite for you for nothing. So you try everything. You're switching bait, and nothing seems to be working for you. Well, I got a little tip for you guys when that happens. Fishing those hard days, and you don't want to go home empty-handed, and it doesn't look like you're going to get the big one. But maybe you can scrounge out a couple little ones and save that day. Well, stay tuned, and I'm going to show you how. Hey, what's up guys? My name is Mark, and this is Real Triggered. Today, we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to do more of a commentary style video rather than a traditional in-your-face talk to the camera style. I can't seem to think, talk, and fish all at the same time. I find myself losing more fish than I already do. Plus, I go outdoors to get away from people, and it just seems weird talking to myself in public. People already think I'm crazy. But, back on topic. This video is going to be the first part of a Tips for Beginners series to help out our new anglers and maybe refresh some of our more novice anglers as well. Now here we are at my favorite local pond. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I come here often. It's close to my house, it's a smaller, more intimate spot. It's usually empty and it produces fish nearly every trip. I always start up on the dock. Even though it is the most pressured area on the pond, it is also the area that has the best view of points of interest. I have grass lines on both sides, the best point to hit the middle of the pond, and of course, there's the dock itself. If you're like me, you started fishing from the bank. Now, where most people progressed into fishing from boats, I stayed pretty much grounded. I spend a lot more time fishing off the bank than I do out on the water. In fact, I spend more time in the water than I do on the water. Now, all jokes aside, I think I have some tips rattling around in this old head of mine just to give you. And with football season right around the corner, let's take a page out of their playbook. See what I did there? Let me introduce you to a method that I call SAD. S-A-D. Each letter has two meanings, and all of it is meant to keep you from going home sad. Especially in the dog days of summer when the fishing is hard and it's bloody hot. First is structure. Then it's shadows, angles, attitude, distance, and downsize. The old saying is that 10% of water holds 90% of the fish. With that in mind, let's look back at the bank while I was fishing off the dock. Here we can see we have the whole stretch of embankment that we can fish. If we break it down to just pockets along the embankment or to the point at the end, we fish the highest percentage spots along the bank that could hold fish. But don't forget about getting around and under the dock and bridge. Remember, the first letter in SAD is for structure and shadows, and docks have plenty. Bass are predatory fish, but most of the year they wait in ambush. They tuck up against these pockets or irregularities, and then they hide in the shadows, just waiting for their prey. Any structural work, whether it's just pockets against the bank, or bushes and logs or rocks on the pond bottom, edges of shadows where light changes, anything that will give them an advantage. Docks are a prime example of this because it gives them an ambush spot and it gives them shelter. So on hot summer days, they're just a little bit cooler under the shade of the dock. And bait fish know it too. And where there's bait, there's something there waiting to eat it. Now on this side of the dock, we're going to show you some points of interest along the embankment. We're going to break it down again, but this time it looks pretty open and the sun is overhead, so there's little window for shadows. We still have the whole embankment, but now we have this point that's sticking out. That's going to be our point of interest. So I'm going to cast all along the back side of it. I'm going to cast all along the front side of it. I'm going to try to go and cover as much area around that point as possible. And in comes the second letter of SAD, angles. Now we're going to move to the bank that we were fishing while we were fishing from the dock. We're coming in from a different angle on the same area we've already fished. If it gives the fish a different look at what we've already given them, and a lot of times it'll trigger a bite. We'll quickly go over the spots to target. All along the reed line here, the embankment right by our feet, and then under the bridge and along the dock are good target areas. Here, here, and here. The next letter in SAD is for distance. How far are you willing to walk the bank to seek out fish? On this small pond, I see no reason not to walk the whole thing. I'll just keep my snake boots on. On a larger body of water, maybe scout out an area that you're willing to go. And try to go to spots that are less pressured, like places that few other people are willing to go. But if you're fishing the bank, whoop, looks like I got one. What did I get here? Oh, I got me a snagfish. Hooked him right on the back. Wasn't expecting it. Fought like hell because it was snagged in the back. So we won't count this one. But as I was saying, go to places that few other people are willing to go. But if you're fishing the bank, expect to walk quite a bit. Fish move, and you've got to move to find the fish. But on that other note, if you find the fish, don't leave fish to find fish. Let's throw this guy back. Let's do another quick breakdown on high percentage spots. I skipped over a letter, A for attitude, and I get it, it's the dog days of summer, it's hot, the bite is super slow, you're getting eaten up by bugs, and you're just going through the motions now, you're not paying attention. And at this point, it's just better to just take a breath, pause, and reset. You can either leave defeated now, or you can change your mindset. Think about all the areas that you haven't covered. Follow through the acronyms of SAD. What structures and shadows, different angles, covering water, and that brings us to our last letter, downsizing. Everything else hasn't worked, so I'm going down to a jig head with a grub. You're not going to set records every day, so might as well just pick apart the little guys. And don't get me wrong, the big girls will eat this thing up too. You'll just have to weed out the little guys first. They seem to be more aggressive when they're little. We call that tiny fish syndrome. Kind of like a bunch of triggered mics, I know. Now I know I'm gonna get asked, well, what about the wacky rig? And the wacky rig is an awesome setup, and I'll cover that in a future video. But I went with the grub and jig head because it's not just smaller in size, but in profile. Its fat body moves just enough water, and its tail moves just enough to draw attention. And there's nothing more to it. But I can still use it to search the water. And going through the side method, I can still hit my structures and shadows and angles and do it quickly, but just in a smaller package that may be less intimidating, or the bass just feel like it's an easier target. Oop. Looks like I got one. A good old downsized grub with a jig head.
One committed. Like I said, very small today.
Now, ain't that a beauty? It's been a hard day's work and put a lot of work into getting this bass. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna say I was successful.
Little guy. But it's something,
and then I faceplant. Don't mind that fish. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.